Welcome to the Militia Gaming community. I'm Trigger, and today we have the Gold Seeker Summit Guide for the Crew 2. Let's go! Alright, the idea behind these summit guides is to help you earn platinum rewards every single week. I'm not claiming to be the best in the world, but I do have some really good advice for the average player to help boost you from gold or silver up to platinum. I get platinum every single week, and it's because I study the best runs for each event before the summit goes live. This video, like I said, is a collection of things I've learned from studying those runs. Alright, let's get into it. First up, the Meteor Crater Slalom. This slalom is best completed using a rally raid vehicle. The world record holder uses the Hummer, but because I'm comfortable with my Ford Focus RS, that's what I'll be using. My first tip is to make sure you have a set of score breaker parts. This will be the difference between scoring 6,000 to 8,000 points on this slalom and 15,000 to 18,000 points. Second, when you start the slalom, back up and get some speed going into the opening gate. Stay to the right because you need to go around the outside to the right of the first pylon. Manage your speed so that you don't miss any of the pylons, and make sure you finish the event. If you go around all the pylons successfully and you finish with your scorebreaker parts on, you will likely receive 100,000 points for that summon event, if not more. On my second try, I was able to snag a score under 200 out of 11,000 players, which I think will be plenty enough for the summit. If you plan on using the Ford Focus RS, my pro settings look like this. Next up is the Arch Park Trail Escape. This escape is a bit tricky, and you need to pay attention to the route I take. I'll go ahead and let the full run roll so you can see exactly where I go. The world record holders did this escape using the Koenigsegg Regera, but it's almost impossible to duplicate their runs because of the nerf to mid-air NOS, and it's really not necessary to score 100,000 yards on this escape. You really only need around 6,000 or 7,000, and you'll get a really good score in the summit. I was able to secure the 8th farthest distance on Xbox with 7,680 yards using my Ford Focus RS. Feel free to use whichever off-road car you like, but make sure you follow my route. The pro settings for this event are exactly the same because it's the same exact car that I used in the Crater Slalom. The next event is the Grand Canyon Slalom. It's best to use a Powerboat for this event, and I'm going to be using the 1414 Demon. The faster and more nimble your boat is, the better. There are a couple things you must do in order to have a great score. First is your parts. Without a set of score breaker parts, it's going to be a challenge, but I believe you can still get 100,000 on the event. In addition to that, make sure every part you have also has skilled as the affix stat. That will also increase your points for the event. After that, it's all about your skill. How fast can you complete this slalom? This one is challenging. It took me several tries to put up a decent score, but I managed to score near the top 100, so I'm pretty confident going into this summit. My pro settings for the 1414 Demon look like this. The next event is an air race called Black Mount, and you must be using the Waco YMF 5D. It doesn't have any real tricky maneuvers in this course. It's a pretty straightforward race. The faster your plane is, the better time you're gonna get. If your plane is completely maxed out at 270 and you're looking for a tiny little edge, try putting on parts that have the affix stat Perfectionist or Tricky or both. Perfectionist will allow you to hit the gates with a more allowable angle, and Tricky will refill your NOS when you're performing tricks. So you could be performing tricks the entire time you're flying so that you have more NOS, and because you're performing tricks and you have Perfectionist as the affix stat, you don't have to hit those gates perfectly. That should allow you to carry more speed throughout your run. I use the default pro settings on my Waco. Next up is the middle of nowhere street race. Unfortunately, the crew has not released which vehicle we will be using for the summit, so for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use my Ferrari F40. There are several cuts in this track that you will want to learn. At 22%, you can cut the corner to the right, and then again at 29%. At 37%, you're going to veer off the road into the dirt and go directly towards the next checkpoint. You will have to barely hit the gap between the two barriers on either side of the road. Then when you get through that checkpoint, you're going to want to turn left right before you jump that hill. Again, when you land, you're going to need to clear the gap between the barriers. So make sure as you go through that first checkpoint, you turn left when you're hitting that hill so that you land somewhere in between the barriers on the other side. And then at 46%, you can cut right directly across the field towards the final checkpoint. At that point, you will have made one lap, and this is a 2-lap race. Just rinse and repeat those shortcuts. Alright, let's move on to the Red Rock Rally Raid using the R1200 GS Adventure. I'm going to play for you my whole run on this rally raid so that you can see which routes I took. I recommend using Nitro Chemist if you have it, and Ventilated is actually really nice here because of all the jumps that are in the rally raid. Every time you jump, it refills your nitro, and it actually refills it really fast. So it's a really good affix stat to have during this particular event. Aside from that, it's all about repetition and knowing the course, so enjoy my top 100 run.
Are you? Because I don't recognize anyone who go that slow.
My pro settings for the R1200 GS are like this. This week's crossover event is a rallycross race called Circle Pit, but you have to use a hovercraft. The fastest hovercraft in the game is the Proto Speedster, and having a full set of Nitrochemist parts is a must if you want to be competitive for this event. Outside of that, I really don't have a lot of advice because we can't play this event until the summit goes live. So what you are seeing is me practicing the course while not in a race. But just so you know what the route is, here's a lap from my fastest time in the Dodge Charger. My pro settings for the Proto Speedster are like this. Alright, up next is the Colorado Riverbanks Jet Sprint using the Leopard. This event is really straightforward. The faster your boat is, the better time you're going to make. Mine is very low level as I've done almost no jet sprint races, so I'm going to have to grind this category this week to get a better score. So far, the best pro settings I could have for the Leopard look like this. And moving on to the last event of the summit, the Uber Dam Powerboat Race using the V40R. This boat isn't very fast, so anything you can do to help it is greatly noticed in your time. That means Nitrochemist is absolutely recommended. I unfortunately am missing a couple of pieces for that set, so I will again need to grind powerboat races to complete it. That being said, the event itself is really easy and you should be shooting for a time under 1 minute and 30 seconds, and that's pretty conservative. A lot of people can run times near 120 or sometimes below that. That type of time should grant a decent amount of points for this summit. You really shouldn't worry too much about this unless your boat is not fast at all. Then in that case, you need to worry and you need to upgrade your boat. My V40R Pro settings are like this. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Keep in mind that I'll be showing you my full summit runs on Wednesday after I've had a chance to record them. I will be putting that video out Wednesday night. So if you're interested in just watching that gameplay, that video goes out every week as well. If you have any questions about this summit or any video on my channel, you're welcome to hit me up on Instagram or Twitter at any time. I always check my DMs. I don't always get back to you right away, but I get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Trigger out.